The quiet strength behind their privacy. Have you ever noticed that some women are active on social media, but almost never post pictures of themselves? They watch stories. They interact with friends. They stay connected online. Yet, if you visit their profile, you'll find very few personal photos, or sometimes none at all. Most people immediately jump to conclusions. Some assume they're insecure. Others believe they're shy or uncomfortable with their appearance. And a few simply think they're trying to be mysterious. But psychology suggests something completely different. For many female empaths, choosing not to share personal photos isn't about fear. It's about awareness. Empaths experience the world differently. They don't just notice what people say. They notice how people feel. They sense emotional shifts, hidden intentions, and subtle changes in behavior that most people overlook. Because of this heightened emotional awareness, they also experience attention differently. What feels exciting to one person can feel emotionally overwhelming to an empath. Every comment carries meaning. Every opinion creates emotional noise. Every reaction becomes another layer of energy to process. This doesn't mean they're weak. In many cases, it means they're more emotionally observant than the average person. Think about what really happens when someone uploads a photo online. Within seconds, strangers begin forming opinions. Some admire it. Some criticize it. Some compare themselves to it. Others create assumptions about that person's competence, lifestyle, relationships, or success, without knowing anything about their real life. A female empath understands this process more clearly than most. She realizes that visibility doesn't only attract appreciation. It also attracts judgment. And judgment often comes from people who have no real place in her life. That's why many female empaths begin asking themselves an important question before sharing anything online. Does posting this actually improve my life? If the answer is no, they simply don't post it, not because they're hiding, because they're protecting something valuable, their peace. As they grow older, many empaths realize that access should be earned, not freely given. The more personal information people have, the more entitled they often become. Advice turns into criticism. Curiosity becomes intrusion. Interest becomes expectation. Rather than allowing strangers unlimited access to their personal world, female empaths create healthy emotional boundaries for them. Privacy isn't isolation. It's self-respect. It's the freedom to enjoy life without constantly wondering how others will interpret it. While social media often encourages people to be seen, female empaths frequently choose something far more valuable. They choose emotional freedom over public attention. And that's a decision many people never truly understand. But avoiding attention is only one piece of the story. The real reason female empaths rarely post their photos has much less to do with privacy, and much more to do with something that quietly controls millions of people every single day: the need for validation. Why validation means so little to them. One of the biggest differences between female empaths and many other social media users isn't how often they post, it's why they post. For countless people, every upload brings a small burst of excitement. A new photo goes live, and almost immediately, they begin checking their phone. How many likes? Who commented? Who viewed the story? Did people notice? This cycle has become so common that many don't even realize they're caught in it. Their emotions begin rising and falling based on the reactions of complete strangers. A successful post creates confidence. A quiet post creates doubt. Without realizing it, their self-worth slowly becomes connected to numbers on a screen. Female empaths often recognize this pattern much earlier because they naturally spend so much time reflecting on emotions. They begin asking questions that many people never stop to consider. Why does this approval feel so temporary? Why do people need constant reassurance from strangers? What happens after the excitement disappears? The answers slowly change the way they view social media. They realize that online validation fades almost as quickly as it appears. A compliment feels good for a few minutes. A popular post creates excitement for a day. Then the attention moves somewhere else. The cycle starts all over again. Instead of chasing those short-lived emotional highs, many female empaths begin investing in something much deeper: real friendships, meaningful conversations, personal growth, peace of mind. These experiences create a lasting sense of fulfillment that can't be measured by likes or followers. This doesn't mean female empaths dislike compliments. They're human, just like everyone else. Kind words still make them smile. Genuine appreciation still matters. The difference is that they don't allow public approval to define who they are. Their confidence grows from their values, not from an audience. Because of that, they feel far less pressure to constantly prove they're living a happy or successful life. They don't need to post every achievement. They don't need to announce every vacation. They don't feel obligated to document every beautiful moment. If something brings them joy, experiencing it is often enough. This mindset creates an incredible sense of freedom. While others worry about staying relevant online, female empaths become comfortable being unnoticed. Silence doesn't make them anxious. Privacy doesn't make them lonely. Being forgotten by social media doesn't make them feel invisible, because the people who truly matter already know where to find them. Over time, this internal confidence becomes one of their greatest strengths. The less they depend on public recognition, the more control they gain over their emotional well-being. Instead of allowing an algorithm to influence their happiness, they choose something much more stable: inner peace. And that choice quietly separates them from a culture that's constantly asking for more attention, more exposure, and more approval. But there's another reason female empaths often avoid posting personal photos, one that's even more fascinating. It has nothing to do with confidence. It has everything to do with how deeply they experience the moments that matter most. In the next part, you'll discover why female empaths often choose to live unforgettable moments instead of photographing them, and how this quiet habit reveals one of the rarest forms of emotional intelligence. They choose to experience life, not perform it. One of the quietest yet most revealing traits of a female empath is how she experiences meaningful moments. In today's world, beautiful experiences are often interrupted by one simple thought: I should post this. A sunset becomes a photo. A vacation becomes a series of updates. A dinner becomes content before it's even enjoyed. Without realizing it, many people begin experiencing life through the lens of a camera instead of through their own emotions. Female empaths often move in the opposite direction when something truly matters. Their first instinct isn't to reach for their phone, it's to be fully present. When they're having a heartfelt conversation, they focus on the connection instead of documenting it. When they're standing beside the ocean at sunset, they absorb the feeling instead of worrying about finding the perfect angle. When they're celebrating an important milestone, they're usually more interested in living the moment than proving it happened. To some people, this may seem unusual, but for an empath, the emotional value of a memory often becomes stronger when it's experienced privately. They believe not every meaningful moment needs an audience. This perspective comes from the way they naturally process emotions. Empaths don't simply notice events, they absorb them. A simple walk with someone they love can stay in their memory for years because of how deeply they felt during that moment. A quiet afternoon with family can become more meaningful than 1,000 online reactions. Because of this, they rarely feel the need to transform every personal experience into public content. Another important reason is authenticity. Many female empaths quickly recognize how easy it is for social media to blur the line between real life and performance. People begin choosing activities because they'll look impressive online. Moments become carefully staged. Happiness becomes something to display rather than something to genuinely feel. An empath often notices this shift long before others do. And once they notice it, they naturally begin resisting it. They don't want to perform happiness. They want to experience it. That's why many female empaths intentionally leave some of life's most beautiful memories offline. Not because they're hiding, because they're protecting something that feels deeply personal to them. A memory doesn't become more valuable simply because thousands of strangers have seen it. Its value comes from the emotions attached to it. The laughter, the peace, the connection, the feeling itself. Over time, this mindset changes the way they interact with the digital world. Instead of asking, "How many people will like this?" they begin asking, "Will sharing this make my life more meaningful?" If the answer is no, they simply keep the moment for themselves. This creates a quiet confidence that many people misunderstand, while others constantly feel pressured to remain visible. Female empaths become comfortable living without public recognition. They don't confuse privacy with loneliness. They don't confuse silence with failure. And they certainly don't confuse popularity with genuine happiness. Because they've discovered something that many people spend years searching for. The most meaningful experiences are often the ones that never appear on a screen. Yet as female empaths grow older, another realization begins changing the way they use social media altogether. They start understanding that every bit of visibility comes with a hidden cost. And once they recognize that price, their boundaries become stronger than ever before. In the next part, you'll discover why female empaths become increasingly private as they mature, and how painful life experiences teach them that protecting their peace is far more valuable than gaining attention. As female empaths grow older, something interesting begins to happen. Their world doesn't become smaller. It becomes more intentional. Experiences teach them that every invitation into their personal life comes with a responsibility. Every person who gains access to their thoughts, memories, and emotions has the potential to either protect that trust or misuse it. Unfortunately, not everyone chooses wisely. Many female empaths spend years giving people the benefit of the doubt. They open their hearts, offer endless support, and believe kindness will naturally be returned. Sometimes it is, but often it isn't. They discover that some people confuse compassion with weakness. Others mistake generosity for unlimited availability. And some simply take without ever giving back. These experiences don't make an empath bitter. They make her more discerning. Instead of sharing everything with everyone, she begins asking a simple question: who has truly earned access to this part of my life? That one question changes everything. The photos she posts become fewer. Personal updates become more selective. Private moments stay private, not because she's trying to hide, because she's learned that boundaries are one of the healthiest forms of self-respect. Modern culture often encourages the opposite. We're constantly told to share more, reveal more, build a personal brand, and let everyone know what's happening in our lives. But female empaths often move in a different direction. The more emotionally mature they become, the more carefully they choose what to reveal. They understand something many people overlook. Every public post invites public opinions. Every personal detail becomes open to interpretation. Every image can create assumptions from people who know almost nothing about the real story. Rather than carrying the emotional weight of those assumptions, many empaths simply choose peace. This shift also changes how they use social media. Instead of treating it like a stage where they need to perform, they begin using it more like a window. They observe. They learn. They notice patterns, while others are focused on being seen. The empath quietly watches how people communicate, how relationships evolve, and how emotions influence behavior. This natural ability to observe becomes one of her greatest strengths. She notices inconsistencies. She recognizes manipulation more quickly. She pays attention to actions instead of promises. Over time, these observations help her develop remarkable emotional intelligence. Ironically, the less she shares about herself, the more she understands about other people. That's because observation requires silence. When you're constantly trying to be noticed, it's difficult to truly notice everyone else. And that's exactly why female empaths often appear mysterious. Not because they're trying to create mystery, because they're far more interested in understanding people than impressing them. Eventually, privacy stops feeling like a restriction. It becomes freedom. Freedom from constant comparison. Freedom from unnecessary opinions. Freedom from explaining every decision to strangers. For a female empath, that kind of freedom is priceless. But there's one final misunderstanding that still remains. Many people continue believing these women avoid attention because they lack confidence. The truth is almost the complete opposite. And once you understand the real reason, you'll never look at quiet people the same way again. In the final part, we'll reveal why a female empath's silence is often a sign of emotional strength, not insecurity, and uncover the powerful lesson that most people only realize after years of chasing attention. Their silence isn't insecurity, it's wisdom. Perhaps the biggest misunderstanding about female empaths is the belief that staying out of the spotlight means they lack confidence. At first glance, it seems like a reasonable conclusion. If someone rarely posts selfies, avoids drawing attention, and keeps large parts of their life private, people naturally assume they're hiding because they're insecure. But for many female empaths, the truth couldn't be more different. Their silence is often the result of understanding, not fear. They've learned something that many people spend years trying to figure out. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your life. Every experience has taught them another lesson about human nature. They've seen how quickly admiration can turn into criticism, how curiosity can become intrusion, how personal information can be misunderstood, judged, or even used against someone. Rather than allowing those experiences to make them cynical, they become wiser. Instead of building walls around themselves, they build healthy boundaries, and those boundaries become one of the greatest expressions of self-respect. Over time, they stop measuring their value by how visible they are. Their confidence no longer depends on followers. It doesn't rise with compliments or disappear because of criticism. Instead, it grows from something much stronger: self-awareness, meaningful relationships, emotional maturity, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who they are, even when nobody is watching. This is why female empaths often appear calm in a world that constantly demands attention. They don't feel pressured to prove they're happy. They don't feel obligated to explain every decision. They don't believe every beautiful memory needs to become public content. Some moments are simply too meaningful to hand over to strangers. They understand that peace is often protected through privacy. While many people spend years chasing recognition, female empaths often discover something far more valuable: contentment, the freedom to live authentically without needing constant approval, the ability to enjoy life without performing it. And perhaps that's one of the rarest forms of emotional intelligence in today's world. Because genuine confidence isn't about how many people notice you. It's about remaining secure even when no one does. The next time you come across a woman who rarely shares photos online, resist the urge to judge too quickly. Her quiet presence may not reflect insecurity at all. It may reflect emotional discipline, strong personal boundaries, deep self-respect, and a level of wisdom that's impossible to measure through likes or comments. Sometimes, the strongest people aren't the ones speaking the loudest. They're the ones who know exactly what deserves to remain private. Because not everything meaningful needs an audience. And not every powerful person feels the need to be seen. Sometimes, the greatest strength is protecting your peace in a world that constantly asks you to give it away. If this video gave you a new perspective on female empaths and the psychology behind privacy, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think privacy has become a forgotten form of strength in today's digital world? If you enjoy exploring psychology, emotional intelligence, human behavior, and the hidden patterns that shape our lives, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the human mind. Until next time, remember this: the most emotionally intelligent people don't always seek attention. Sometimes, their greatest strength is knowing exactly when to remain unseen.